Hi everybody, and welcome to Pro Tips for You. I'm David Pauley, Major League right-handed pitcher, and today we're going to talk about fastball command, direction, and good fastballs that you can use in different situations. Now there are a couple different techniques in guys that throw fastballs. A lot of guys will throw a standard four-seam fastball where your fingers cross over the top of the seams, and it gives a more straighter, more firm fastball that will stay true and stay through the plate. A lot of guys who throw in the mid to high 90s, even lower 90s, will use this as, an out pitch at times, or even, just to get the ball over. What this creates is more of a direct, almost rising looking fastball, and makes the hitter kind of change his eye level as the ball is coming towards you. Now, there's two different ways that you can throw a four-seam fastball. On the inside of the horseshoe, which is right here, you can throw that with it facing in, or you can turn it and use it facing out. Either way, it tends to create a little bit of movement either way. Most of the time it follows the direction of the horseshoe. It won't be drastic, but there will be a little bit of movement to either side. So whichever one is more comfortable in your hand is the one that you should throw. There's no preference to either side, which one's better, which one's worse. It's more of a feel, okay? Also, there's a two-seam fastball. Me, myself, being a sinker two-seam fastball guy, it's a little bit slower, but you create more movement, more drag on the seams, which creates downward action and side-to-side action as it gets towards home plate. Now, there's more than a couple ways to throw a two-seam fastball. Obviously, with your fingers close together in the middle of the two seams is the most common way to throw one. You can move your fingers up along the inside of the ball, which gives it more of a split finger fastball action, more down action instead of the more side to side. Or you can throw like mine on some occasions where I use a one seam, one finger, and you put that finger on the inside of that left seam, and then you keep this finger off the side of the ball is just a control to keep, make sure that you're keeping it in the right direction. With the two-seam fastball, all you're trying to do is you're not trying to create movement out in front. You're more or less worried about finishing out in front, and you keep your hand on top of the ball. Same way with a four-seam fastball, you want to make sure that your hand stays on top of the ball, fingers stay on top of the ball, and you're directing the ball in a straight line towards home plate. The mechanics to this are no different for either way. Basically, you're going to come set whichever way you're most comfortable. You want to grip that across the seams, not too tight. You don't want to grip it because then it's not going to come out of your hand. And when they say, it's not necessarily how hard you try and throw the ball, it's how hard it comes out of your hand. So you want to hold it so it's just nice and easy in your hand. Some guys will tuck their thumb under. It's more of a preference. I like to keep it where the inside of my thumb here is on the seam so I can feel the entire ball and I know where it's going. So same thing, you want to cross up the seams, and as you have it in your glove, I'll show you without my gloves so that you want to make sure that your hand stays on top of the ball. Now as you deliver the ball to home plate, you want to come up, everything's the same, you want to get your arm in a good 90-degree angle so that there's no stress on the upper shoulder or elbow. You want to stay in this good position, good strong position, using the lower half to direct the ball towards home plate. And as you deliver the ball towards home plate, you want to make sure that you're staying behind the ball, on top of the ball, and that when you go, it travels with a backwards, reverse motion, and so you get that little bit of late rise or late action, as some people like to say, that will create that little bit extra angle that the hitter will have trouble with picking up. Now the other style is the two-seam fastball, like I showed you, and this is more of what I throw. So nothing changes, mechanics are all the same. You never change anything of your arm motion or anything like that. You just want to really more focus on your finish and how you finish out in front of the ball and making sure you stay really far behind it. So same thing, you're going to come set with the ball in your hand. And as you deliver, same thing. You want to make sure that you're in a good position, good strong position here with that elbow at 90 degrees. And as you finish, you want to make sure that you finish all the way through the catcher and that your first finger is the last part that's on the ball. That way it creates that drag as you finish, which will make the ball have this action away from a left-handed hitter or into a right-handed hitter. So just a few, again, four-seam fastball, nothing changes. Get yourself in a good power position where you can use your legs, your hips, and your core to create that that direction towards home plate. That's where you're going to create a lot of your power. There is power in your arm, and a lot of guys are all arm, but a lot of guys have to use their lower half, their core, and every other part of their body to create that power driving towards home plate. So as you come set, you want to make sure that a lot of your weight is towards your back foot so that you're in a good stable position, okay? So that you can really drop on that back leg and make sure you have a good, stable, strong base back here so that when you drive towards home plate, you know, all your power is still on the drive side, okay? You're never gonna give it up until you're already here and you're about to release the ball, okay? All that stuff that's created here between your hips, your shoulders, and your legs drives the ball to this point, and that's where your arm takes over and delivers the ball to home plate. Your legs, your hips, and your core are very important to pitching. You use them just as much as you would at any other position or as a hitter. So you want to make sure that you stay in that good, strong position that you can drive the ball towards home plate. You hear a lot of people say get downward action, stay on top of the ball, and drive down towards the plate. A lot of kids take that as, you know, they have to stay tall and stay above the ball, and you get a lot of this action where you jump towards home plate and you land on a stiff front leg, and then you lose velocity, you lose command, you lose your control. So what you want to do is you want to stay soft on that front side so that you can keep a good tall base, but at the same time, you're not jumping up over the top of your body, you're staying through it so that you can drive the ball to home plate instead of throw the ball to home plate. Thanks everybody for joining us today on Pro Tips for You. This was basically working on fastball command, the different types of fastball grips, and the proper mechanics used when you want to be a good commanding pitcher. I'm David Pauley, and thanks for joining us.